Clueless on the surface, I look fine. My brain feels heavy, my traumatized mind. And I'm so tired, I can't feel my eyes. Whoa, whoa. I'm petty, but I know how to lie. I feel feelings that I can't describe. I'm not breathing, but I'm still alive. Whoa, whoa. But I think I'll be alright, 'cause I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up yet. I feel that it's my time, so I'ma give it everything. I'ma give it everything I got. So I'ma give it everything. I'ma give it everything I got. I'ma give it everything. I'ma give it everything I got. Why do I still have hope? So many days have passed. I wait around for things to change, but change has not come fast. I'm asking all the questions, but then I question them. Like, what's the point of living, existing when you can't see your God in flesh? I'm looking for the answers, they say to pray instead. I think I'll find them one day, but with a helping hand. I know that it's not easy, but I believe I will. Yeah, I'll get over all my fears and really conquer everything. I think I'll be alright, 'cause I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up yet. I feel that it's my time, so I'ma give it everything. I'ma give it everything I got. So I'ma give it everything. I'ma give it everything I got. I'ma give it everything. I'ma give it everything I got.
Think about you a lot. me flick like a mattress. Yes, me no, but don't just like this active style and pattern that I'm there. Active. One live like massive. Talking with an happy brandish. Touch road and hold the world hostage. Wanna start the bumper class mash pit when we step out to the place get active. Active.
God, you are the devil.
I could be the one you talk to when you're feeling down. I could be the one you run to when the moon hits the ground. I can say what I'm feeling, but the words just don't come out. If you ever feel lonely, girl, just know I'll come around. 'Cause I've traveled too far just to get to where you are. And I know that you're broken, but that makes you who you are. So pick up the pieces and show me you mean it tonight. I know what you're feeling, I see that look in your eyes. So pick up the pieces and show me you mean it tonight. 'Cause what I've been dreaming is giving you my paradise. can lean on with you by my side. Baby, when we fall, together we'll rise. 'Cause I've traveled so far just to get to where you are. And I know that you're broken, but that makes you who you are. So pick up the pieces and show me you mean it tonight. I know what you're feeling, I see that look in your eyes. So pick up the pieces and show me you mean it tonight. 'Cause what I've been dreaming is giving you my paradise. So pick up the pieces, so pick up the pieces, so pick up the pieces, so pick up the pieces. Show me you mean it tonight.
Okay. That means more.
Rushing through me, downpour, upstream, are you with me?
Best to give me that loyalty. Best to give me that loyalty. 'Cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. 'Cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And welcome back, everybody, to Arena Esports. My name, of course, is Edu, and I am joined by the wonderful Time to Light here. How you feeling today, buddy?
I'm excited. It's a nice morning for some more Counter-Strike, or evening, or sometimes mid-afternoon, depending on where you are across the world. For us, on the other side of a very large pond, a whole continent, it's nice and early in the morning, so I'm happy to kick it off with some Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and I'm happy to kick it off with two teams that we might have seen before, Nevermind and Team Blame here. Now, you talk about across the continent, we're all the way across the world. I mean, I think our production is based out of India. We have you and I, or our NA base, and then we have teams that are competing in the MENA region. So all over the place for this. So I'm really excited to see what these two teams are going to be able to do for us today. But before we move into seeing these teams actually compete, we have to thank, of course, our broadcast partner, Playtonia, powered by Etisalat, and of course our strategic partner AD Gaming. But with all of those thanks out of the way, Time to Light, what are we expecting for today?
I'm expecting a really good game. We have Team Blame taking on Team Nevermind, two teams that we have not seen thus far in the Arena Esports series, whether it is in CS or in another title. These are two orgless teams, which are sometimes new, considering how prevalent some of these squads have been. And looking at this, it's two teams that need to move forward if they want to avoid what could be a much longer gauntlet. This is the first time we're seeing two brand new invited teams since all the way back in our first Invitational Qualifier, and RGW had two separate opportunities of qualifying through this Invitational Qualifiers, and then they ended up qualifying the second time around through the monthly qualifier. So it took them a little bit, but we finally have two new teams and two new chances at crowning a monthly qualifier.
Yeah, and talking about that roadmap as well, I'm excited to see what we're actually going to have at the playoff stage, as this is right now just another qualifier for our monthly finals. I know I've worked a lot of monthly finals in other games. I know you have as well here at Arena Esports. There's a lot of gameplay to be had, so make sure that you are keeping close with Arena Esports. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, any location that is going to be easiest for you to get yourself some great gameplay to watch. But of course, with that being said, I do want to take a look at our prize pool here and looking at how much money is on the line for today's qualifier, if that is possible. But based off of how it usually is, I believe this is roughly $1,500. We have a bunch of credit as well, but it looks like we do have it as well. Yep, so $1,200 in total with a bunch of points for Arena Esports if you guys do want those as well. But first place, second place is what we're duking it out for right here, so cash prize only.
Yeah, this is all determined through the monthly qualifiers as well, not directly through the Invitational Qualifier. There are only two teams invited to each Invitational Qualifier in CS2. We don't get any extra quarterfinals, semifinals, or multiple teams all fighting at the same time. It is one singular match, two invited teams, and one best of three to determine it. Here's your roadmap. Here is where we lie right now. I talked about RGW having two separate chances. They're one of your two teams in playoffs. You win a here, you play one other best of three, and you go straight to the playoffs. There is no direct entrance to the grand finals like there is in some of our other titles here at Arena Esports. It is win and move on, not win and get a clear and obvious ticket to the grand finals at the end of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be very interesting to see which teams stick around for the full-blown combat. I know there is eventually going to be a giant grand finals happening in Dubai. I am under that impression, but hopefully I'm going to be able to see a lot of you guys here in either the chat or even at the event. So looking at this roadmap, seeing how many people have already battled it out, we're only halfway through to getting to that point where we are going to be seeing some more. But as we do have the teams focused today, Team Blame versus Team Nevermind, you know, both of these teams, as you put it, are orgless. This is just teams that really want to showcase themselves in their skills that they have accumulated from just pugging it out, scrimming a lot, and hopefully they're going to show themselves enough solid gameplay that I would hope to see them in the playoffs.
I want to see them, at least one of them, in our monthly finals. If this is a close game, one thing that can happen is if one of these teams goes to the monthly final, the other one can go through the Invitational Qualifier and then make it to that same monthly final, and we could see a rematch. Not a guarantee, has not happened thus far. However, it is a possibility. So keep that in mind. There is still the open qualifier after the invitational qualifier that is intentionally set up so that if the invitational qualifier team does not make it, they have an extra opportunity to qualify should these two teams actually be the true two best teams of the month. There aren't any guarantees, and our admin team in the background does take a very good guess at who those two best teams may be. With RGW, they were basically neck and neck back in monthly qualifier number 1, and then as soon as they got through the second one, they finally made that opportunity to qualify.
Yeah, and that's honestly something that I want to see more of, is these players really duking it out to try to battle their way through, get into those qualifiers, prove themselves to the point where they are going to be eventually in that playoff stage. And, you know, that's a few months away, to be honest, and it seems like it's getting closer and closer. Been doing this since October, and yet we're halfway there. Hopefully by February, we're going to see only the best of the best, and hopefully, you know, on camera with you will be the best of the best casters, will be the best of the best productions. So shout out again to Blink Productions as well. But hopefully in this best of 3, our only best of 3 for the day, we should be expecting some decent gameplay. I'm excited to see what maps are going to be picked here. I want to know, you know, what angle these teams are going to be going at, as the meta for Counter-Strike, especially now that Counter-Strike 2 was forced out, it's been a little unique to see how these players like to duke it out. Obviously, smoke changes and all of that Counter-Strike 2 brings. I'm excited to see exactly what ideals these guys want to duke it out with.
One thing that I was really paying attention to the last few times that I've been on invitational monthly qualifiers, because we don't broadcast the finals of open qualifiers, has been the difference in playstyle between a lot of North American teams, European teams, and these Middle East and North Africa teams, alongside some of the, you know, western side of Asia, where some of these other squads hail from. I have been paying attention mostly to their aggression versus their types of utility usage. There aren't as many preset pop flashes. Nobody has those weird lineups like you would in Valorant for something like that. And I do have to say, it is a nice little breath of fresh air. You have not more innovative utility usage, but unique utility usage, and that's what I love to see, especially on more awkward or different maps. Speaking of our maps, those are coming up in a few minutes, but I gotta say, I'm excited for this series. We have another best of 3 on the cards. We have one more to send teams to the playoffs in just a couple weeks' time. There's a lot of things happening across Arena, and this is just Counter-Strike. We still have 5 other game titles. Is it 4 other game titles we cover? I just do Counter-Strike and PUBG Mobile. You know way more than I do about the other ones.
Yeah, so there's a bunch. Honestly, I could go on for a few minutes here, and I will. So I work the Dota 2. We also have Mobile Legends Bang Bang, so we got a ton of those, you know, MOBAs as well. I believe League of Legends might be on that roster. You have Free Fire as another one. You got, as you put it, PUBG Mobile. You also have, of course, what we're doing right now, Counter-Strike. Valorant, I believe, is another option here. So if there is a game with an esports backing, if you're at Arena Esports, I mean, it's here. This is the arena where all esports come together and really duke it out to see which one's the best and which players are going to be showing up the best. So honestly, it's some amazing stuff that Arena Esports has been putting on for us here. And I'm thinking, you know, we got all these one-of-a-kind tournaments here at Arena Esports with 3 different segments of gamings. You got major tournaments, elite cups, you got solo leaderboards, you got anything here. And that's why, you know, when it comes to those Arena Esports points, those matter, because those points can be used for a ton of different rewards in a bunch of different games. So make sure that you do check out Arena Esports, our website as well. All of the possible things will be linked down below. But hopefully we're going to be seeing some more gameplay here soon. But actually, it is no Valorant. I was wrong about Valorant. So, yeah. Sorry if you are a Valorant player and I got your hopes up, my apologies.
No League of Legends either. That's really Mobile Legends Bang Bang. It's the MOBA version, mobile version of the MOBA League of Legends. I wish there was League of Legends. I don't work it personally, but I absolutely adore the game. It's so much fun to watch. I have no idea what's going on half the time. Absolutely no clue. Dota, I can't even understand. It's not even to the point where I can enjoy it. But more credit to you. The fact that you cast like 94 game titles is beyond me. Free Fire is something that I didn't think I'd like as much as I do here at Arena Esports. We have a bunch of games across the board. Now, usually if you want to watch these games, you could go to our YouTube and then go to the videos tab, but because each of these games are live streamed, you have to go to the live tab. So don't go to the videos tab, go to the live tab. You can watch every single monthly qualifier, every single invitational qualifier. Some of the open qualifiers, like Counter-Strike, for instance, does not broadcast them. And then, of course, the playoffs and grand finals down the line. But there's a lot of time until we hit that point.
Yeah, there's been so many different titles as well, and it's going to take a few more months before we get to that grand finals. So, of course, there's still some qualifiers that might be able to be there. So if you're a player, make sure that you put your hat in the ring. Sometimes the best way to show up at one of these events is not as a spectator, but as someone who is there for the gold. Go for gold if you're going to go at all. And hopefully we can see some of you guys there as well, maybe in the chat. And hopefully we're going to be seeing more of the gameplay to be had. Now, as we are doing Counter-Strike, and that is our main focus for today, I'm really excited to see exactly what comes down to it here. But with, of course, all of our sponsors that are here on our list, I do want to ask you, now that we can get close enough to these maps being picked here, what maps should we be expecting? What do you think is the meta right now for Counter-Strike?
I mean, everybody's favorite meta is just going Inferno, Mirage, and Overpass, or Vertigo are sprinkled in there. I casted a collegiate event over the weekend. It was something similar to that, except for there was Anubis added in. It comes down to what the teams are currently practicing. You have some teams that only practice the stock standard maps, that being Inferno, Mirage, Overpass type of thing. Ancient has now been added into that conversation, as it was much less played compared to now. But with Anubis being added, Vertigo being on the cards, Nuke still being in there, really anything's a toss-up. There's no real meta in terms of map selection. Anubis isn't selected as much, nor is Nuke, nor is Vertigo. I like to see them. I'm really hoping for all three of those, but I can't get what I want every time. Mainly because there's still 7 maps, and these teams don't scrim everything that I like to see. At least not all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's a big shame, the fact that we're only going to be having a best of 3. There's a ton of maps in Counter-Strike, and of course, map vetoes are very important, knowing which team is going to be banning what. I do not know the history between these two teams, so I'm not going to be able to look into, what are they banning against the other team, or what are they going to be picking because they just really enjoy that for their own team. I believe that a very fast ban here is going to be Mirage. I think a lot of teams recently, no matter if you've played against a certain team or not, are not a fan of Mirage. It's one of those maps that can really cause some disparities between how much your team is able to control it, and if you have one slip up on Mirage, you feel it. You get punished so fast. Yeah. So, with that in mind, I'm expecting some decent maps. Inferno, one of the probably guarantees. Overpass. Almost every time I cast Counter-Strike, Overpass is definitely one of those as well. But it looks like we got to find out the map veto. Vertigo and Anubis first to go. And I was hoping for Overpass, and it's banned already.
Yeah, but Ancient, Mirage, Inferno. I said Ancient was joining that conversation. Turns out it's joining the conversation first. Mirage, Inferno, nice little 2 to cap it off. Team Blame will choose Mirage. And start on the T side. You see a little terrorist at the bottom. That's indicating the team who selected the map is also starting on the T side, mainly because your opponents always love starting the CT side. Nevermind will start on the CT side of our decider. They technically didn't pick it, so they did get the side selection. I like this map pool. I'm a big fan. You have your nice little mix of stock standard maps of Mirage, Inferno. Inferno, I love seeing as a third, and that decider at the end of the day, with Ancient to open things up, should give us a nice mix of everybody's favorite standard 4-box, like Mirage, with a nice little spice added with Ancient to start things off. But I'm gonna be honest, with Mirage being selected second, Nevermind has a theoretical advantage. Granted, it's one that I can only presume because we have no information on these teams. I've looked up HLTV, I've looked up Liquipedia, just about everything I could find in the CS in terms of documentation. I do not see anything for these teams, to the point where there's a team called Nevermind, and they're based in Europe. I don't think it's the same Nevermind. So, I don't know what this match holds, but according to the map veto, I'm going to predict 2-0 Nevermind. And
I think,
only according to the map veto.
I think because of map veto, Mirage is a very balanced map, but the team that picks Ancient is usually the team that's more confident on that. So I'm gonna agree with you there, Time. I think that what we have is Ancient, Nevermind's pick can really do a lot. And if your name is Team Blame, I better not be seeing you guys have anything to blame each other over. I want to see the best gameplay out of them. Don't live up to your team name. I want to see some real skill here. If we do get to that decider, though, it's going to Team Blame, because that means that Team Blame should be taking map 2. And of course, if you get Mirage, Inferno's practically the same feeling in how it is played, in the fact that so many players have had almost thousands of hours to play on Mirage and Inferno. I mean, they have been in the game for over decades. So it's going to be interesting to see how this actually plays out past the ancient map, but we're only going to have time tell us. So time to light. Let's put some light on these teams and hopefully jump in soon. Now, I will be saying that a lot of these players, even if we don't know much about them, if they're at Arena Esports, they are the cream of the crop of their region. So hope this scrim team that we know a little bit about is going to shock us with how good they actually play.
Yeah, there's always two conversations when it comes to teams and their map vetoes. You have teams that absolutely despise Mirage, teams that somehow like it and also play Inferno, and teams that will never play either of those two maps. Occasionally you'll see the second one more than anything else, but there are teams like Astralis back in 2018-2019 who will insta-ban the most common map in the competitive pool, that being Mirage. And then you have other teams who, like FaZe in that same time span, or Liquid in that same time span, will exclusively play the map, and it works in their favor. And thirdly, there are some times where you'll insta-ban the map against every single opponent for 8-10 months at a time, and then you've just magically been scrimming it for those 8 to 10 months, hiding any strats that you have, and then you play a team like Ninjas Pajamas and beat them, 16-1. Or I think it was 16-2 at the end of the day, but that was because of the first round. But that's neither here nor there. It's a real coin flip going into this match. I do think if Nevermind win Ancient confidently, and they're a team that is one of those three that plays Mirage, I don't think this goes to a third map, but it's just a presumption at that point. You don't have any guarantees, especially in a unknown game like this. These two invited teams don't have all that many VODs on the background. I may be missing something, being from a completely different region, but from what I could find, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you there. I think with how there isn't that much to know about these teams, especially in the EU region anyways, I'm thinking that with how Counter-Strike has been a dominant game for the EU region, way higher levels than us here in NA when it comes to the other competitors, Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six, and other things like that. Sorry, what was that?
I don't have to remind me.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, EU, you can't be a EU gamer if you like Valorant more than Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is your game. It has been for years, and it probably will be for a long time coming, as CS2 is just heating up. And as I remember from when Counter-Strike first came out, CSGO first came out, I recall how rough its launch was, and now it is one of probably the favorite game of a lot of esports players. So it's the birthplace for careers, and now that CS2 is here, I'm thinking that cycle is reset, the Phoenix is reborn, and we should be able to see some real clean gameplay here. But of course, with these teams, with these pugs, I'm really waiting to see what the actual roster of these teams are, because if I can get a look at some of those, I might see some recognizable names. I have done a lot of work in the EU region, and hopefully we're going to be seeing somebody that I might know, but you're shaking your head, and I'm thinking that it's going to be a whole mystery bag here.
Yeah, well, you may have done a lot of work in the EU region, but the only Nevermind team I've found is in Europe. I don't believe there are any teams currently playing in Arena that are from the European continent, except for one, and that was a couple weeks ago, and they lost. So this should be a team of mostly Middle Eastern players and or players from around the Horn of Africa, maybe like Asia Minor, that general area. But I don't think, as far as I'm aware, any of these teams are specifically European. I don't think there's any restrictions on them playing. However, European ping to Dubai servers is just A, not fun, and B, not viable in CS2. CS2 subtick has really ruined things. Like I said, I worked a collegiate event over the weekend. We were supposed to have a server on LAN, ended up not working, so we had to play a game on Faceit with like 30 ping. Not the end of the world by any means, but they were expecting LAN and they weren't happy, and understandably so. It was an interesting game. one that ended as expected, but it could have ended differently should there have been a LAN environment. LAN environment's always more exciting, and with Counter-Strike, the way the servers work, the way Subtick is now, it's even more important. And I've loved seeing LAN events because there's no players complaining, oh, Subtick got me. There's 0 ping. You're not getting caught by Subtick.
Yeah, hopefully CS2 will figure out their server issues. I remember I was playing and I think I was dropping frames so much. It was a little interesting to see, to say the least. But working with the IESF last time I did some Counter-Strike as well, I saw a bunch of North African teams really dominate as well. I believe we had the Morocco team, probably one of the best teams in the IESF region. So, seeing all of these guys, even if they're not EU, even if they are, sitting in the ME part of MENA, then I'm expecting some good gameplay no matter what. Hopefully we can see only the best of gameplay. But one thing that I have experienced here at Arena Esports is there haven't been a lot of washes. There haven't been a lot of people getting just completely ran over. At least when I casted Dota in MLBB, it was very balanced. So props to the teams for being able to not only be seated properly, but also be able to keep up with each other and go blow for blow, because that's what makes games fun. I know you've casted a lot of time, and one thing, there's nothing worse than having to watch a game and it's 15 minutes where you spend more time talking about what you expect than actually seeing it.
The only time that's not the case is when I have homework to do. And I don't have homework to do now, so I'm really hoping for all 3 maps. We have been told there is a few minutes to our game starting. There have been some background server issues, so our admins are working on it. We're making sure that's all locked in. So apologies for talking your ear off in minor podcasting, but we're just making sure our background is locked in. And you were talking about, with some of the other titles, it being close. It's been to the point where in PUBG Mobile, it has come down to 1 or 2 points between qualifying and not. There were a couple teams that were in the top 5 and had basically a guaranteed spot in playoffs, and then 2 other teams step up above them, beat them by quite literally a single point, and send those other teams either back to Invitational Qualifiers or back to Open Qualifiers the following month. And there have been other teams that come out of absolutely left field and are like, hey, oh yeah, I want to go straight to the grand finals and do just that. It's been a wild ride. In CS, we've had only 1-2-0 all season, by the way. And in PUBG Mobile, there's been 2 teams that are clear and obvious favorites, and both of them are sitting in the grand finals right now. Or, yeah, both of them. There are 3 teams in the grand finals right now, but only 2 of them are the clear and obvious favorites.
Yeah, and it's funny with PUBG Mobile, it's hard to have games that to be that close. When I was working with IESF and having that large event going on there, I worked their PUBG Mobile, and it was really just one team, the official Turkish team, that dominated. So, in this region, in, North Africa, in Southern Europe, it was really large. And now that we have the Middle East as well in that mix, I'm thinking that some of these players might overlap, and that's why it's getting really close. PUBG Mobile is massive overseas, as we know. It really has picked up quite a bit there. So it's nice to see that. So hopefully, if you guys want to see some more PUBG Mobile gameplay, make sure that you are following and sticking around with Arena Esports, and make sure that if you are going to be sticking around, that you let us know how we are doing. But of course, I'm hoping the game coming around this corner soon, we can actually see some of the gameplay we've been hyping up for a little bit. Now, we know the map picks, we know what is going to be locking it down here. Now, if I were to say one thing, I think that starting off on Ancient is going to be so interesting to see who's going to be able to do it. Ancient, if you guys don't know, is just rebranded Aztec, and I used to play Aztec back in the day, so that was interesting. But I mean, it's the same thing. It really is. And Aztec was hated. It looks the same. And it plays very similarly. The only difference is the high ground, low ground disadvantage that Ancient or Aztec used to have. Not an issue here. So they just removed that part of the game, and you got Aztec again. So
I really hate how much you're right.
I mean, it is. It really is. It's why I would rather see Anubis. Anubis actually brightens things up a bit, and because Dust 2 hasn't been in the map for forever.
Thank God. Let's go.
We need to have a desert map that gives some love, and Mirage doesn't cut it half the time. So I'm hoping that Anubis comes back into the meta, but Valve's going to have to send some more very niche placed crates on that map to fix some of the angle issues, but with a little changes and hopefully, saying a little change for Valve, I mean, in the next 5 years, we'll be able to see something here from them.
Yeah, you were bringing up earlier how CSGO had the similar cycle as CS2 now has, and I'm saying it in probably 6 to 8 months, CS2 will be touted as Game of the Year. That's the general conversation, where a game was kind of forced out of release because they originally presumed a little earlier than they needed to. Then they kind of pushed it a little early just because they still wanted to get it within the summer window, even though they were technically a week late on that, because summer ended like September 22nd. They released it September 29th or whatever it was. I don't hate the fact that they released it, but the fact of the matter is it wasn't immediately ready, and it has turned a lot of people off of Counter-Strike and the series. They'll come back. They always do. They never leave for any longer than 5-6 months, and by they I mean myself as well.
Yeah.
But for the time being, there are glaring or some difficult issues to circumvent, and every week or sometimes every other day we're getting new patch notes, new updates, new players banned unintentionally because of GeForce driver issues. It was actually really funny. 2 days ago or yesterday, people were banned because they either updated their game or updated their GeForce drivers for NVIDIA, and they were knocked out because of it. And there were a few game bans that went around. For a few minutes, or for actually a few hours, there was almost $2 million in skins that were on banned accounts because of the GeForce drivers. It was almost very bad for the skins market, or very good, depending on what you hold. But luckily, it should be reverted. All those game bans, from what I can see, are still being rolled back, according to the tweet from CS.
In talking about lost money and skins, don't ever forget what they did to every Doppler and Bayonet Sapphires. All of those used to be a little bit expensive, and then they were like, hey, let's make them all look awesome, and it tanked the price. So I'm happy that I sold a lot of my CSGO inventory the second CS2 was announced, and that was a great idea. So let's see what's going to happen here with hopefully, some changes to Counter-Strike. Obviously, CS is not the same level that it used to be, in my opinion. I think that it's gone a little bit down, but as TTL says, it will come back. 8 months, Game of the Year. I'll quote him on that when it gets probably a Razzie, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Oh, it's a like the opposite of an Oscar, like if you do really bad in movies. But
okay.
Yeah, not anything like what you're thinking, but
all I'm saying is Mr. Irrelevant, the final pick of the NFL draft, is currently a favorite to be NFL MVP. So,
wow, that's cool. I mean, talking about Game of the Year though, Baldur's Gate 3. Now that's a game that I could talk about for a long time. Congrats to them.
Never played that.
It's a really fun game.
I don't get those types of games. I play first-person shooters and then get really upset at my teammates and go play Fortnite.
That's a third-person shooter.
Well, yeah, that's why I got mad at first-person shooters. Or I play PUBG. That's one I love.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see how much these guys are going to be winning once they find out how to connect to a server, you can look right now on screen. $1,200 in total with an asterisk. Of course, $250 is worth of Arena Esports points, but that's a lot of points here, which you can use for a lot of different things. But $650 for first place, $300 for second place, leaving us with a decent chunk of change at the end of the day. And I believe overall, Arena Esports in the next few months is actually planning on putting forth like a few 100,000 AED down, a lot of money for players. So this is a high rollers table, and of course we're going to be expecting that a lot of these players want to have a seat here. But now, looking at how these players want to have a seat, apparently they don't. They're walking around doing anything but sitting down and playing the game. But that's always a fun thing to think about. Now, of course, time. I'm thinking, do you think that, honestly, there's a chance, a small chance, because we don't know how these teams are, there's a chance that there is going to be a game shorter than how much time we've talked about the games starting?
I honestly think it's possible. So we started our broadcast at 9 a.m. Central Time, which is 10 a.m. Eastern, and I don't even know what time in Dubai. However, as we are headed into the game, it has been 26 minutes, give or take.
All right.
I don't know if it's possible for that to be the case. I'm really hoping it's not. because that would be just a absolute wash. But I mean, any game that finishes 12-6 or 12-7 or better for the team that wins will take about 30 minutes. So it wouldn't be absurd to say this one takes less time than we've been talking.
And that means that we have one more thing to say before we get into the game. Again, a special shout out to our wonderful partners. We are powered by Etisalat. We have a strategic partner here, AD Gaming, and we could not be on air without Playtonia, our wonderful broadcast partner. But as Arena Esports is kicking off, we have unpaused the game, and we are going to be jumping straight on in to Counter-Strike 2 and Blame versus Nevermind.
I gotta say, this is a team or a game that has been touted, one that we've been told about for a couple weeks as our Invitational Qualifier approached, but one that I'm extremely excited for. And there are no guarantees about. This is a best of 3. We start off with Inferno, we head to Mirage, or start off with Ancient, where we are now, we head to Mirage, and then Inferno to close. I'm still excited for Inferno, should it be here. But a mid-rush, they're headed towards A off the back of it. It seems like it's gonna work. That full sense of security on the A site is not a sense of security whatsoever. Bomb already going to go down.
Wow. I mean, great take here by the T's being able to push up, but this is where CT really needs to start putting it back in their places. But LTD on the 4K might be able to find the 5th, and Jesus, dude just popped off there. I mean, that is what you want to do if you have a player with a USPS. Big mistake if you let a Glock get upgraded like that.
Yeah, you cannot allow that to happen. By no means can you allow a rush through mid, not playing it whatsoever, and then have no information because you didn't play mid, and then get caught out because of it. That's a round that Nevermind should not be able to win as easily as they did. Sure, they can win the pistol, but they shouldn't be able to do so as easily as they did. That is a statement made in pistol round, and one that I'm very concerned about down the line, because I was talking about this, Nevermind picked Ancient. If they are confident on this map, and they know how to play Mirage in the slightest, they may be able to take the series in fairly short order.
I mean, I think you're right about that, but looking at how they're just splitting off, we already have second round AKs being bought here, which, you know, pretty standard, but the problem with that is if CTs are able to hold down mid well enough, which we do have one player in mid, and never mind, they are both dead. Good job. That's going to open up something here, but I don't know if they bought out here. I can't really see exactly what kind of weaponry was purchased by these CTs, so it looks like it won't matter if they just drop any weapon back on the ground here.
Zaka already won, but that's not enough. You have that lack of weaponry like you talked about. More importantly, you have the lack of manpower at this point. 4v2 is not a terrible scenario in the second round, but you need to do some economic damage and force them to reinvest something in the bonus. I'm very concerned for Blame, but it's the pistol round. It's the conversion round. I'll bring this up later in terms of statistics, but right now it's not the end of the world. These next 2 rounds, the real litmus test of the game. If they start to have concerns about this down the line, maybe we have a different conversation. But for the time being, that's all.
Yeah. And hopefully we are going to be seeing some kind of shift here for Blame. Obviously, if you do lose pistol round into immediately losing second round, it's going to be a little bit of a problem there. As we know, the curve of Counter-Strike is first 4 rounds goes to the victor of pistol most of the time, because it takes a long time for Counter-Strike for you to build up your economy. It's not like any other first-person shooter like Valorant, where you have a very quick comeback mechanics. CS, even though it is now set to only needing 12 rounds to win with Counter-Strike 2, they didn't change anything about the economy, unfortunately, so it still has the same problems, but now it's like you just lose half of the game right off the bat, which is so strange. So again, shout out to Gaben for being great at playing Dota while everybody else does the work.
Hey, he's locked in on the send the money over. Ooh, spray. Almost damage from Nidal, but it's proxy to win that fight, and it's Lava in a 1 versus 4. A decent position for them, all things considered, but the low HP is really going to be their problem. They also don't have full B control, and the backside of CT is currently occupied. If you can clear this first fight and make it a 1v3 as the bomb goes down, it's a little bit more reasonable. You have crossed safely. A bomb plant is not unreasonable to be okay with at the end of the day, but this is still something you have to win, or you have to do some damage at the end of the day, because this next round will be a full gun round. There's swing, and he's dead. Never mind. All touted, all dead. Proxy finds 2, and Blame will take the round.
Yeah, and now, honestly, that was a great round from Blame. They walk away with only one person dying. So even though I, touted the fact that Nevermind had a decent lead, they had a lot working for them. As long as people get those initial picks, First Blood in Counter-Strike weighs so heavy, especially because everyone in Counter-Strike has the weight of their entire team on their shoulders. If you die first, you're going to have a problem. And talking about the weight of their team on their shoulders, LTD here, 6-1, has finally fallen, but we're 3 rounds in. This guy has a KD of 6. I mean, just beautiful job there. So now that we're going to be getting into this next round, I'm excited to see if Nevermind's going to be able to toggle back on, being able to bring up their real gameplay. But I do want to say that if Blame takes that round and this round, then they have the lead in their hands fully.
I don't know. I'm also looking at this as their first real gun round, saying this is where the rubber meets the road. Nevermind in the previous round didn't have all that much utility, nor did they have the good weaponry they needed, so there weren't any guarantees going into that. And I gotta say, in a game like this, not only is that going to be a challenge for Nevermind, but as they start to walk in, with that lack of information, will they just start to straight up win gunfights? Because you have forward positioning by Love, and you have mid control again here for the T side, but it has been seen. Ruru has done some damage, but has also taken some as well.
Yeah, I think at this stage in these rounds, you can see how much the space and the respect for each other's teams have really bolstered. Blame is not sitting up in mid as they used to do. Now you have Nevermind on a different angle. They cannot push in. They're looking for someone to be over aggressive, and Team Blame, they're not giving him any of that space. So with them anchoring down a B side, this is just perfect for these guys. Now, I do want to see if we can find some real DPS, and oh, beautiful shot. That's what we need to be finding. A double kill down. Proxy's going to fall, but they do manage to take this site and set us up with the 3v3, but even more damage is being dealt, and what a great flashbang. And with the flash going away, we're also seeing a player getting another bullet to the brain.
Oh, but no, ZZZ's not safe. They were stuck out. Flash through in the cave. They want to try and retake this, and they will. Even while flashed by their teammate, Zako will end up finding that kill. A very odd round for Blame, and one that Nevermind really just didn't set up properly. They had the split correct. They had the flashes correct. The issue at the end of the day was just not having the shots they needed, nor the utility to hold off the site once they gained it. At this point, Blame have that advantage. They've gone back to back. They now have rifles better than Nevermind, and they look much more comfortable with full weapons in their hands. Pistol and conversion round may be that misnomer for this game.
Yeah, and time, we're sitting here with a timeout. We're looking at somebody who I think this is going to be based off of a technical issue, not exactly a called timeout because of any other issues here, but still, I mean, it's a little bit questionable to see how they're going to be able to duke this forward. Now, I will say that I'm really proud of Blame for being able to turn this game around. If you looked at Nevermind's position, you're right, 100%. I agree with you. They were not hitting their shots, and if you don't hit shots in a game like Counter-Strike, it is very simple. You die, you lose. The end. I mean, it's not an advanced system. There's not abilities to worry about. If you don't know lineups to throw flashbangs, you're kind of going to be SOL here. So looking at this next round where we're going to be having Nevermind coming into this with probably, I'm hoping, not a forced buy. They need to start saving and building their economy back. But if I see a single gun in their hands, they are going to be shooting themselves in the foot, or a hero rifle can come to save the day.
I wouldn't hate a buy here. The only reason is because you've gotten bomb plants back to back. That could be a false sense of security for them, but it's still 5th round. It's the first half of the first half. You have some wiggle room. Granted, winning the pistol conversion has really helped you. If you lost that and you're down 4-0 now, it's a completely different conversation, but we won't presume what could have happened. We just know what has. And Blame, at this juncture, need to make sure they play conservative. They cannot overextend. They cannot put themselves out of position, because the way that a team wins a round like this is either multiple players taking out one with a rifle and picking up that rifle and making it a much more reasonable round, or rushing it and taking advantage of the man advantage on individual sites, especially on that T side. It is significantly more easy to win a eco round on your T side rather than your CT side, and it's much more risky for a CT team should they be cut off, because sometimes if you just upgrade Eagles, 1 or 2 shots is all it takes to completely turn the tides of a round.
Yeah, I think if they are able to land their shots, which, as you pointed out, they haven't been, the game's going to be different. But I don't know what's changed so much, because on the pistol round, they really dominated. I think with how this team is built up, with how they're separated out player to player, everybody knows that there's at least one carry on a Counter-Strike team. But
It's usually me.
Usually not, but so with how two carries are, I'm a little bit concerned here, because you have one player at 7 kills, and then you have no one underneath them, not anybody close to them, and I've never seen that work. I've never seen a team that in all of my years of casting, when you have a team that has one person full blown putting their entire team on their back, it's never enough compared to a team that's consistent across the board. Now that we are in this game, we're seeing a little bit more damage being dealt, and ZZZ might be that guy, might be able to catch up, but just kidding. Blame's going to be taking the round, and as soon as we get to see it start, it ends.
Yeah, it was a quick rush. I was talking about that W key and the risk of upgraded pistols. It ends up not ending the round for Nevermind in their favor, but the benefit is they barely invest and they do economic damage to Blame. That's something to keep in mind down the line. That economic damage was all important, and it can be as these rounds progress. They don't get a bomb plant this time around, so they won't get that extra $800 a player and $300 for the bomb planter. That's $4,300 for the team, for all of you non-mathematicians out there. But it is a very good round, even though they don't win. Yes, they don't, but it's still a very good close.
Yeah, pretty good close, but now we got a nice open. Zaka is going to be grabbing mid hall here, and that's a big opening for them. Now we do have LTD. This is the guy who's been really carrying his team. Unfortunately, going to have to carry a little harder as Love joins another dead player, and that is what LTD does, though. Great lurk is grabbing Zaka down. That is the first blood player down, taken out here. And as we look in a little bit slow motion, we might be able to see them find another pick. But if you look at that mini map here, I'm seeing that no one from the side of CT is really focused on pushing up anymore after the mistake Zaka made. So Blame already adapting to the fact that they have the life advantage.
Yeah, and Blame at this point disengaging off the back of it. Now, I've seen multiple conversations about this, and I think it was Steel, a former North American's Counter-Strike professional, current / kinda current, and a Valorant pro, who brought up the conversation of, if you have a man advantage, everybody says, oh, disengage, don't over-aggress, you don't have to. That's really not the case. If you have a man advantage and you play it right, getting aggressive can be all that much more impactful positively than just disengaging, because you're giving over real estate, and sometimes real estate can be the biggest killer of that player advantage. I like how different teams approach different situations, well, differently, but in this one, I don't know about that immediate disengage. Oh yeah, let's just play off site because we have the advantage. That advantage can fall away very quickly if that bomb goes down.
I agree with you. If it gets into the post-plant position, then you're going to be there. And talking about post-plant, here we are. And now this is not going to be too easy here. I like the fact that ZZZ's taking it slow. Now, I don't want to sleep on this character, but I do want to see where these last two are. Actually, this last one is, and there it is. The trade comes through, and I think it's froze.
They have time. They have time. It's okay.
They do.
We know they get the defuse. It was played, though, by Blame. You play the 2v1. You both swing from the same direction. You force them to spray both of you down at the same time. You also play the fact that each of you had higher totals of health than your opponent. Granted, it was a post plant. I said it was risky, but it wasn't the end of the world. It ends up being around for Blame regardless, but a close one to say the very least.
Yeah, it was close. I like the fact that they went blow for blow, traded out each other. I think that the fact that they got the bomb planted again is going to really amplify the fact that they love forcing. And yeah, I think it's good for them to be able to afford some weaponry here, but we're nearing the end of the half already. And if this is the way that Team Blame has been playing it, I can see that it might be Nevermind's option to say, never mind, I'm not going to be able to compete in this tournament. I mean, they have been really shut out right now in map 1, at least knowing that it's been 4 in a row for Blame. And even if it looks pretty close right now, when I see the scoreline, I also remember the fact that they have had very many issues in how they balance each other out.
Did I talk about earlier how if Nevermind are good on this map and have played Mirage, it's a completely different conversation of a possible 2-0. But now, it's one that I want to bring up elsewhere. This is the map pick of Nevermind, yet Blame seem mechanically more gifted on a map selection that is not their own. And once we head to a more stock standard map that they are more prevalent on, it's a completely different series. Good Molotov will force the aggression. I don't hate this, but the problem is they walk straight into a flash. We talked about the pop flashes earlier. There's one of them. Nidal finds the kill, and that may very well end up being the round. Spray down on both sides. Nidal better at tracing through smoke, and they'll find 2 to close it out. Nevermind, they're first in a while.
Yeah, I mean, good job. They stopped the 4 streak. Nevermind able to really anchor it back. And, you know, looking at how that game went for what we did see of it, I did notice that how they took B, very aggro. The Molotov into the flashbang combo to force a player right in front of them. Great job. Now, if they can hit those kind of plays consistently, where they bait out some players over on the opposite side, over on the A point, then they're going to be better off. But right now, they're going whole ham into mid here. And kind of not doing the same action from before. Maybe it's a play not to get read by the enemies, but at the same time, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of vibe. If it works, I would recommend maybe sticking to it.
They split A, thinking, oh yeah, Blame will fully rotate, and they do. And now they're headed the complete opposite direction. No one is seen in mid, and B is not occupied in the slightest. There's no one home, not even in the same country, much less the same zip code. And just like that, it is a full site free for Nevermind, and they can get free aggression towards CT. Watch the swing. Over aggression, not over, but still aggression.
Hey, but Deagle comes through to trade it out. As you said, though, this aggression is what they have been going for. And now, looks like that aggression on the flank is not going to feel any love, because no love is going to be grabbing Proof off. And that is another one, though. And the Deagles coming through. So even though they are playing this a lot better than they have the past few rounds, they are still getting dominated. Now ZZZ has to hold it and cannot hold it if it's glued to his hand. So yeah, great play to start it out. And now, that even if they have the perfect play, aim is what bounces it out at the end of the day, and they just didn't have it.
It's the aim for Blame, and the round as well. 2-round lead at that, and a timeout surprisingly called by them. I don't hate this scenario. You can do one of two things with it. Number one, it's a mind game. Oh, we just beat you, and now you have to wait 30 seconds and think about it. Or, number two, thinking about what you have to change into this next round, considering your different economy. They were kind of expecting to lose that round. It was only Deagles, I think a couple 5.7s and armor. And after that, those couple kills, I was talking about picking up those rifles. It's the man advantage, and that overzealous scenarios that can come back to bite you. Nevermind had the advantage. They had the bomb down. They had basically everything going in their favor. And then everybody swings, and then everybody dies. It was so close yet so far for them. And a round where they just needed to play around their strengths. Utility, better weaponry, and they didn't.
Yeah, I think that really comes down to the fact that what is their strength? Well, their strength is taking space. Holding space, not so much. Taking it, they got it. So early to mid round, that is where Nevermind is really strong. And if we think back to when they were winning rounds, pistol round, second round, those are rounds that, because of the weapon difference, it's only early and mid rounds. There's no post plant in a pistol situation unless you are very passive as a player base. And Nevermind is not passive whatsoever. They love their aggression. Now that they're facing off against a team that unfortunately can diff them with Deagles, you're going to be having a little bit of a problem here, Time. Now, I'm thinking that if they can balance it out just a little bit, if they can, bite off more than, they chew, they should be able to hopefully deal a little bit more before this round. I think that if they want to take a site, this aggression that they do every early round needs to succeed in getting at least 2 to 3 kills. If they don't, unfortunately, the cleanup crew that is Blame will just come through.
It seems like Blame has been that cleanup force towards the later stages of some of these rounds. We'll restart it, a few seconds behind, but about as on pace as we can be. Op out, I think either the first or one of the first ops we've seen thus far. I don't remember one at that juncture, but Nevermind seems to want to rush B if they can find the speed to do it. The issue is there's 2 players here, one of them with an op, and they have that utility they need. Flash misses, the swing, however, Pro misses as well, and the op does just the same. That W key ends up working. They have a full bomb site and a smoke down.
Oh, not very clean here, and that aggression is find one, but trades out in the smoke spray. Nevermind, we'll be taking the round. So yeah, you got to just explode onto the site and make sure that there's nobody left to clean up. And that's what they did. They got 3 before the bomb was even planted. If they can succeed in that moment, if they can make it so they set their post plan up for success, they'll take rounds. Now, Blame understands this. Blame, what I've seen from them is that this is a team that does work very quickly into fixing any minor mistakes. So in this next round, I can expect that it's not going to be a repeat of what we just saw previously.
The more default position, splitting a little bit more evenly, 1 towards B, 2.5 towards A, and 1 in towards mid. And you already have your opening pick over on this A position. Why bring out your knife, though? That's the problem. Somehow Deagle doesn't shut that down. That could have been a problem. Ends up not being so, and already 2 opening picks, and your singular player over towards that B side seems to have the clear and obvious advantage. They end up going 1 for 1, but it's still a 4-2 bomb down, and weapon advantage, and positional advantage, and obviously time in your favor.
And with time in your favor, we got a nice clean pick with the swag 7 from behind. What a flank is that? ZZZ will shut down that swag player, but unfortunately, it's now down to a save. So this 1 player left for Blame is going to say, hey, I'm okay with the game tying up. We had that happen before. We got the game 2-2. Then they took the lead again. So as long as we see Ruru staying alive here with that AK of all guns, they should be... Wait, what just happened? Are we in a different round?
Yep.
Oh.
And it's already going Nevermind's way. We skipped forward a little bit. Apologies for the lag. You are as knowledgeable as we are as to what has been happening. Again, apologies for that one. But we just figured we'd skip to the action. We didn't want to see the save. Nobody cares about that. Currently, there's a player sitting in cave. I don't know if this is going to be immediately cleared. Nidhall has to look further left. They do, and they'll clear it. Nice shot. Nice round. Never mind. In the span of 40 seconds, win 2 rounds. I think that's the only time we've ever seen a team do that.
Okay. That's great. It's amazing. Yeah, so I'm afraid to do any color analysis here because we might be in next year. I don't know. We might see the ball drop at New Year's.
GTA 6 just dropped and all is right with the world.
Oh yeah, GTA 6 is coming out. Dang. Nice molly. Great job.
Was that from them or was that from the other team? I honestly think it was from
That was from them. No, that was from them. Yeah. They threw it and hit the ceiling and it went straight back down.
With utility. But maybe utility doesn't matter. They just fully take mid. Somehow Blame sends 4 players there and all of them die. And magically it's a 3v1 in the first 25-30 seconds of the round. And there's already CT control. Temple behind Proxy is very much occupied. This round's over. No way you swing this. Readily looking at CT. He actually did somehow, but will still die. Love wins the fight. And Nevermind end up winning the half. Streak, to say the very least. And 7-5 to close it out.
Yeah, 7-5, you know, pretty standard in the 1st to 13 play test here. Now 7-5, usually what that would tell you is, you know, both of these teams are relatively even, in my opinion. The only difference at a 7-5 is that the map itself is what carries one half or the other. So that leads me to the next question here, Time. What side do you think this map actually is? Now, a lot of people would argue CT. Personally, I am a fan of the CT angle as well.
Yeah, I'd usually go CT. There are a few maps now with the changes to how servers work. I had a conversation over the weekend. If you play online, T side has a small advantage, but it doesn't mean that the CT side doesn't have the full advantage because of the map, and I feel like that's the case here. If you win the pistol round, it's a completely different conversation, but our CT teams have had some difficulties with the pistol. We saw it from Blame picking it up a little bit. They look like they'll pick up the second half as well. Sides have switched, actually. Yes, Nevermind is on this side, and they won the pistol in the first half, but they're not going to win it here.
Yeah, and this time it is going to be Blame taking that pistol. T-side pistol, though, if you can get yourself in front of them, you know, obviously the USPS has always been the favored, but CS2 buffed the Glock, and it really leveled the playing field out pistol side, and honestly makes T-side a little bit stronger now, in my opinion. Now, pistols are a little bit iffy, but as they're going to be forcing up, Nevermind probably should be doing the same, in my opinion. I think that they should be bringing some kind of weaponry to this table, keep the lead that they have, because Blame has had a track record, in this game at least, of immediately swiping away, you know, stealing candy from a baby when it comes to how they like to keep their lead going. And looks like we are seeing some force ups, though. The Deagle, nice! That's why you can go with a nice even buy. Deagle, just everybody's favorite pistol for a reason.
The rotation off, it's faked here for Vortex. They have an opportunity at this one. They still need to win that opening fight, and that's going to be the main problem. I think they've seen a shoulder, the backside of the main box, but that timing has gone against them, and they now just have made even more noise. The Donut players heard them. The rotation from B should be coming through in very short order, and that should be everything they need. Watch this B player. Going to walk into T-spawn, and Vortex going to have no idea because they've just been running around like a herd of elephants. They shouldn't expect a player here, and understandably so, but there's no way you clear this corner. And even if they do, oh my god, they've seen them. And they'll still lose the fight. Nidhal, nice shot. Picks up a fallen Mac 10. And Nevermind win, I'm not going to say an undeserved round, but a miracle round, considering they chose the right site to stack.
They also chose what weapons to buy. That Deagle LTD popped off. I mean, beautiful job from them. And, you know, considering that this, I believe, is Blame's map pick. No, it's actually Nevermind's map pick. My bad. Nevermind picked this map here. So if Nevermind lock this forward, why are we seeing them kind of, you know, trade blow for blow? Is it that Blame is just very confident on this map? I mean, I think that map picks as of right now haven't really mattered much, but it doesn't matter when you got to do things like that. Come on.
2, almost 3. Proxy, a Deagle of their own will win that fight just with superior secondary weaponry, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think there's a disconnected player on the B site. That doesn't seem to matter either. And with the bomb down just outside of that B position, you're looking at a completely different conversation. How does this work for Blame? Player disadvantage, they're currently down in rounds, and even if they take the B side, or sorry, the A side here, you have an opportunity of getting in, but I think that player just fully disconnected. Yeah, they did. That player who looked like they DC'd on B actually fully did.
Well, they will be missed, but let's see if the shots will be missed as they are pushing her into A site here. We have a bomb available, but you're going to have to clear it. Vortex needs to allow their Tech 9 to buy him space. Kind of strange to have the Tech 9 going first for all the info instead of just holding down. You got to run and gun with that kind of gun, but 45 seconds on the clock. Swings and a hit. That's going to be one down. And there is still one in Donut, and hopefully they're going to be taking the cake here, getting another pick. But I like the fact that Vortex is not planning and taking bullets to the brain. That's very helpful for Nevermind.
9-6. Now that lead's starting to stabilize a little bit. I was going to bring this up earlier. I forgot to do so. I'm not going to lie to you. Pistol round and conversion round. First, second round of the half. The third round considered the bonus, not when the other team wins the conversion. Anyway, when a team wins both the pistol and conversion round of each half, their odds of winning the game at a T2 or T1 level in Counter-Strike with MR12 is 80%. It used to be only about 61, 62, and it wasn't as consistent because of the fact it was MR15. But because those 2 rounds are a very decent percentage of the game, combined they consist of 4 out of 24 rounds, or 1/6, or 16% for, again, all of you non-mathematicians. That is a fair amount of the game to nearly guarantee at the beginning of each half. It gives you about an 80% chance, or 78 if you want to get into semantics. And if you pick those up, you have a clear and obvious advantage. It's even worse now for Blame because, yes, they won the conversion round, but they then lost what would have been the bonus. And they have any opportunity of bringing this back, not gone, but certainly less than ideal. That's current scenario for them. Tech 9s, at least singular, their money, not so good.
Yeah, I think, honestly, looking at this, they're going to have to do whatever they can with what little they have. And unfortunately, Proxy is down already. ZZZ for the side of Nevermind, starting us off with a clean pick. Might be able to find another one. Didn't take any damage. And just kidding, Vortex has a Deagle, shutting them down. The T1 aim with the Deag is always nice to watch. But with Vortex trying to now make even more space, we are seeing them split off. Nidhal's going to grab Zaka here. We still have a big vibe towards B, but this angle here from No Love should be able to cut them in half if they just play it patiently. The second they swing too aggressive, it is still going to pay off, but the trade-off, that buffed Glock is just too strong. That's a PT-50, never mind.
It is a buff Glock, basically. Shot,
Yeah.
headshot as well. Camel lucky to be alive, but 1v3 here, not great, but Vortex still has the deagle. Headshot clears one. Low HP onto Camel. This is not an unreasonable round to pick up, especially if you get aggressive in the right scenario. And he's pushed into the cave, picked up another kill, picked up the fallen M4, and has gone into the 1v1, but should have no idea that Lot's here. But instead, he's trying to split CT. He's got the time to do it. Does he get behind the box? He does, and he has the information. Just not the kill. Lot will shut it down. Very narrowly picked up. Would have been a 4K clutch for Vortex, but woulda, coulda, shoulda was not in the end. It's still a Nevermind round.
Yeah, and Nevermind now is sitting at double digits here, and with MR12, good luck. I mean, this is not going to be easy of a comeback. You have to win 4 in a row in the old economy style, which nearly is impossible here. So, unfortunately, because that change that did not get implemented from CS2 or CSGO to CS2, they're kind of feeling the repercussions of it. So, in my opinion, if you make a mistake, you get punished so much harder this new version of Counter-Strike. Now, if I want to see something, I need to see these players get some punishment mid. We have a lot of them about to go for the real battle, and there's the first.
One already. That's a good start, but it is not the end they've been looking for. It's not, as they say, the end-all be-all. Spray through the box, that's not as lethal as it used to be. That box has very much been changed as more of a safe haven than anything else. And that aggression, it seems like it's working, but ZZ still wins that first fight, is looking for a second, but he's got help from the op, and he wants to reswing, but he does so a few seconds late. And a 3v4 here, still possible for Nevermind, especially splitting B. You have a player sitting in the back of B main, but it's not the guarantee you're looking for, and oh, it's still a fight. No Love wins it. Almost a second for the op. And we go to the next round, Blame won it.
Oh, I mean, what just happened?
TLDR, I think the op got beat. They cleared out the player in B main, if I had to guess. And the last one either saved or died at the end of the day. But
Wow. Thanks for the play-by-play of the future past tense. Jesus, this is like have you ever played 5?
not well.
It's the same thing. We're looking at, just time travel. All right, this is season 3 of Loki. What the this is different. There's a lot happening right now that shouldn't be happening. I think that we have experienced a slip in the time stream, and honestly it is throwing me for a loop because I'm with you. I'm listening to the words you're saying, and now the bomb's been planted, and we're in the next round with 2 players left already.
Yeah.
So
4v2. This one seems to be just about over, and oh my goodness, Zaka knifed no love. This is
hey, at least we get to see that.
Deal. Yeah, knife through. That should be it. ZCC wins this. Like, nice shot. So, not unreasonable to pick up. They'll find a third, make it a fourth. Oh my goodness, ace possibility, but only a possibility. They didn't even have a kit, so I don't even know if they would have had the time. Regardless, very valiant effort, but it does economic damage at the end of the day.
Yeah, and this is doing economic damage to me. I feel like I need to go get something to drink after this. But now, looking at how we are looking at Nevermind kind of losing a few rounds, Blame's backing it up. They're really starting to get a little closer. They're inching their way up here. I do want to say that they have done a great job for what I haven't seen. They got a knife kill, and now from the rest of my casting, if I ever see it teleport out of the game and I don't get to see a round and it just immediately switches to the next one, I'm going to assume everyone was knifed.
That's a really valid assumption. I cannot blame you in the slightest on that one. I also cannot understand how the heck ZZZ splits them through the Molotov and finds the kill. No Love does the same. And in a span of, again, 25-30 seconds, we've gotten most of the round gone, 60% of the lobby is dead, a post-plant more than likely, a decent smoke to shut off Lot, and it's a 2v2.
Pretty solid. I like what we're seeing. Now, with 2v2, we have the bomb carried, but that is Ruru from the sideline, taking out LTD. Huge pick from them. All the way around with your knife out, so not exactly checking your flank, just merely observing it, but this time they hear some footsteps, and that's how to check it. Looks like Ruru is not going to be able to grab that one, making this a 2v2. We have, of course, ZZZ not able to miss, doesn't sleep on that one, and gets another pick here. So great round, and that is a triple kill with a double kill clutch.
7 kills in 2 rounds for ZZZ, albeit the 4 in the previous round were not impactless frags, but less than impactful frags. They were really just eco kills to exit. if you didn't have to reload the Deagle, we may be talking something completely different. It could be 12-7, but it's not. And not at all. It is Nevermind that has needed a few saving graces in this one. Zaka has an AK named They Know Me for My One Tap. Is he Scream?
Based off the gameplay, no, but based off of the items, possibly. So this is going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to deal it out. But if they know him for their one taps, I better start seeing a few one taps here. But time, I'm seeing an op being pulled out by the CTs to try to end this. They want this game one to end, and I will remind the viewers and myself and time that we still have potentially 2 more games here.
Yeah, I'm still saying Nevermind has a better opportunity going into Mirage if they win this, but it's Blame that has certainly shown mental fortitude, to say the very least. Nevermind will cleanly pick up this one. 5 players stay alive at the end of the day. Blame didn't have all that much of an economy, to say the very least, but it's still a round that ends up going Nevermind's way. They have some comfortability. They now have a little bit more of an economy in the second half, and they've got 4 straight rounds to close it out.
Yeah, and with 4 rounds now, we're looking at hopefully some kind of lockdown here for maybe game 1 to end. Maybe we can leave this ancient map and we can travel through time into our next one. But of course, it's not going to be easy if Blame is able to really start putting up a fight now. I like the mid control that they have, the presence of splitting themselves off, maybe forcing some rotates. We saw that strategy work out wonderfully for them earlier, and Vortex just keeps getting these shots. ZZZ, yes, got a few kills in a row, back-to-back few rounds, but if they're gone, nothing really changes, apparently.
No way. Why are we walking through smoke with a player advantage on the B side of no information? You lose 2 players off the back of it. And Pro, this is a very weird round, and they retrieve the A1S. They'll have to reload it, and their position is duly noted, but the walk through the smoke, it ends up working for Camel. They find one, trying to spray down the second, they'll end up losing that fight, but now the pincer maneuver, the re-engagement from Lot, there's a player behind them. It's a race against the clock for themselves, a nade into that cage position, and he knows about the flank, but as soon as he turns, it's the swing for Pro, and the round for Blame. What the heck is going on here on Ancient?
You know, this reminds me of Catch with my dad. It didn't happen very often, but a lot of throws were made. So honestly, it's looking all right here from him. But I think that what we can expect from this is hopefully over time, it's going to be 3 rounds to take it there. But time, I am a little concerned about this because we have so far a huge just back for no real reason. I think that the game should have ended maybe 10 minutes ago based off how Nevermind just wants to take it, but again, they are throwing it right now.
It's a throw that's going to end up into this rush on the side, trying to split through the smoke. It ends up finding one, but a no-scope headshot point blank with the off from Proxy ends up finding that return, and it's a follow-up that isn't going to show up. Zaka ends up dying to their teammate. A nade from No Love and a follow-up from Nidal. This becomes a 1v1 at the end of the day. Proxy a no-scope headshot, a follow-up scoped headshot, and now a 1v1 to contend with No Love, who has heard them rotate. They know that mid is the call, and with the op-out, it'll end up being their downfall. No Love will close it, and it is Team Nevermind to walk away with map 1.
Wow. And map 1 they take, and I would say cleanly, but that was dirty in all regards. That was absolutely filthy. But Team Nevermind being able to take map 1 does not mean that they're our winner of the day. No, that means that they have some more games to be played. Next map coming up is going to be Mirage, my favorite map, and a lot of people's favorite maps, as it is the new Dust 2. But Mirage is a map that has a lot going for it in how they balance things out. But with jokes aside on how that game went and how I didn't expect all of the wonderful nuances of it, I can be experiencing some great pride in the fact that we are moving into map number 2 now.
I'm thrilled that we are headed to map number 2, and with our second map on the cards, this series is now a completely different one. But that's the TVA knocking on my door, so I'm going to have to go answer that. We'll be right back with our second map, Mirage, when we return.
Let's do this Abu Dhabi! 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 Let's do this, Abu Dhabi!
Team Nevermind choose map 1, and they win map 1, but it was not without some trials and tribulations. They went through the ringer, but they said, never mind with Ancient. We'll move on to Mirage, up 1-0. I'm Time to Light, and alongside me here is EDU for our second map of play. Mirage, now on the cards for our Arena Esports Invitational Qualifier, powered by Etisalat by EN, with AD Gaming, our strategic partner, and Playtonia, our broadcast partner. I gotta say, Edu, this is a very concerning second game for Blame, but still one they have a very reasonable chance at.
Yeah, I think what we saw there was Blame had what was in the cards for a great game, a great comeback. They started out pretty early, but as we look at the highlights from that first game and seeing exactly what made them so clean and crispy, it really came down to a very consistent gameplay from Blame when they had you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. You know, that's just the way that they played it. But of course, with how it balanced out, I think what Blame was really missing was consistency. They were able to get knife kills, which should tell you everything about how good of players they are, but they still weren't able to take the cake because it was hit or miss. It was either they get wiped or they wipe. It was very back and forth in domination for both of these times.
It's a very concerning game because it seemed like Nevermind had it in the bag, and then Blame were running away with it, and then they forgot how to use their legs, and Nevermind just took it right back the other way. It was back and forth, time in and time out, but it was not a game that was all Neverminds at the end of the day. You could see with that final kill going the way of Nevermind. It just was them catching Blame off guard in the later stages of this game and on the CT side way too often, and that has to change in towards Mirage. Speaking of Mirage, by the way, second map is a CT side selection here for Nevermind, which gives them a theoretical advantage considering they did better on the CT side of Ancient. Here are your stats from game number 1. Shout out our background team, not only for those replays, which looked clean as ever, but for these numbers with LDT, not Lot, our apologies, going 24 and 12 in just 22 rounds.
It was a lot of damage from those two players to be able to really seal it out. Obviously, Zaka, Proxy, Vortex. I mean, I did not expect Vortex to be at this stage in the scoreboard. That player near the later stages was the player keeping Blame alive. So it's going to be interesting to see how they are able to really lock it forward. But what I do want to see is hopefully a full 3 matches here. And Blame, this is their map pick on Mirage. And if they are going to be starting off on this side, I think, as you put it, CT, in my opinion, is also what is favored on Mirage. The way that I view whether or not a map is cited is 1, statistics of how player base is actually treating it, and 2, how it gets treated by players themselves when they're in it. CT allows for quick rotations, quick cover up, and you get so much information from angles like catwalk. You can hear if people are going underpass. You can hear if people are going abs. You can hear if people are going to be going through palace. You get so much information just for holding tight angles, which is all what CTs do. You compare that to another very famous map, Dust 2. Dust 2, CTs do not have that luxury. They don't get as much information before the round starts because how Dust 2 is built. But Mirage, you just get so much from it.
And with Mirage, it's also the utility conversation. It used to be much different on Dust 2, where you had your stock standard util, nothing really innovative. There's still availability to be innovative here, especially in CS2. I saw Lobanjika brought up a very new smoke that basically creates a pseudo one-way. If you throw it from spawn, it lands in the little box that you boost up to under the main window in mid, and then you can see, basically with a one-way, that Counter-Strike said is not a thing anymore, from underpass to connector. Very fun, nice and a little innovative as well. I like the things that are still being discovered about the game because remember, it's only a couple months old. It came out last week of September. It's been about 2.5 months since then, 2 months and a week. There's been by no means a lot of time to innovate, which means we're still discovering so many new things and discovering so many new ways of playing, whether it's individual maps or full play styles.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that this game is young. This game has a lot to work on, and hopefully will be able to balance itself out by the time that we get to be looking at maybe some majors coming up soon. I'm expecting only great things from the CS2 dev team. I'm expecting great things from the esports side of things as well. I know there's a lot of insanely tight angles being brought up, and people are putting a lot of money towards Counter-Strike right now. You see a lot of players wanting to see more from them, and as we are going to be jumping into our next map here of Mirage, I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing what this very old map is going to find its place in this very new game.
The old dogs, new tricks mantra, I think, kind of applies here, but more with old instances of a new game and how the old comes into the new. The abridged version of this is we're excited to see Mirage, especially with how somewhat close Ancient was, albeit some of the rounds chaotic, some of the rounds we didn't see, but that's a different conversation. And Mirage, now what happens here? Again, CT side start for Team Nevermind. I will say that gives them a clear and obvious advantage. They were much more comfortable in their CT side. They went down. No, they were up 7-5 at the half. So they went, 6-4 in the second half? Pretty good at the end of the day. It could have been a little bit better if some of those more unexpected rounds didn't go their way, or some of them did. It was a very coin flippy kind of game on some of those more awkward rounds towards the end, or towards the later stages.
Yeah, I think that in how these two teams play it out, Mirage is going to be just more favored than ever before. I'm hoping that, if they are going to be playing a map like Mirage, we should be expecting to see something that really separates these out from what previously has happened. And they don't have as much that I would have expected on this map. No, yes, Counter-Strike 2 is newish, but Ancient, it's been around for a few years now. So I would think that I would want a little bit more confidence from them. How they were taking mid really showed up with a little disappointment from my end. But Mirage, this is where you maybe will be expecting some very standard plays. I don't think anyone should be able to miss a smoke. Speaking of smokes, we didn't get to see many lineups here for the character or on Ancient, but now that we're on we should be able to see that here.
No, I am also looking at how some of these smokes have changed, because you no longer have a skybox. For anybody who didn't know that, you can no longer bounce utility off of what was the ceiling of the game. There is no skybox. There's nothing to work with there as we move into Mirage as our second map. How's the utility conversation? We're already heading into our pistol round. Nevermind, starting, as I said, on the CT side. This could be the opening conversation. Pistol round again, all important. Nevermind went 2-0 on pistols, but we're already in a 4v4. Make it 4v3 favoring that team Nevermind.
Ramp and jungle.
Smart plays, and this should be all right to see, but we have now down to one remaining, just the one, where Kazaka kind of stuck inside of connector. Easy for us to do, but hi. Not sure why we're here. What happened?
They went 1-for-1.
Good job.
Not sure what happened there. I think there was a small tech break on our observer side. Maybe somebody pressed the wrong button. I guarantee you somebody pressed a Windows key, and that's what happened. Anyway, the team Nevermind win the pistol. They are currently 3-for-3 on pistol rounds, which is difficult in the new meta, to say the very least, so that consistency is certainly helping them there. And with that advantage, already up 1-0, they don't have as much of an advantage as you'd think. There was no bomb plant, so you're not going to see as clear of a buy here for Team Blame, but keep an eye on this nade. Two of them being prepped, and both of them could very well land. Molotov will force him back. No sound cue as to it ticking. So they do not know anybody's there, but they have a fairly good presumption. Unfortunately, they've backed.
Okay, a little bit of whiffed shots coming out here from Kitchen, but they are some kind of DPS, some kind of damage to make me proud, but there's going to be a little bit more, little nade combo, not actually close enough to do the damage to this last player standing. Now, Ruru only has a Sheriff to make it work, and as they are spotted out, I believe concerned about the flank, should be concerned about the rush here. They have a lot of players just wanting to finish this round off. They have full bomb control, but they're hungry. They are sharks in the water, and they smell blood.
Deal out. It will do nothing. Very clean round. Losing only one player, and you can upgrade your pistols if you want them. That's basically what happens. I'm curious as to this round, though, because Blame, as I've said before, do have that same level of an advantage heading into a bonus round, but I see an AWP out. This is surprising for Nevermind. Op purchased by ZZZ in round 3. That is something I was not expecting.
I wasn't expecting an op either, but what we can expect is that Nevermind does not want to have as close. That's what we're going to be pulling out of it. Looks like Nidhal is actually going to be the real carrier of that op, taking out Pro off. He might be able to pop off. Oh. What a shot! The nade combo! That's what this new version of Counter-Strike can show us, and I need to see a lot more plays like that, but beautiful opping.
Beautiful upping and beautiful play. You have that false sense of security with the smoke up. Take full advantage of it. Find the opening kill. Problem is you've now lost one. That rotation now to B becoming a little bit more important. And the MP9 out here for LPT, and the drop through, Zaka takes full advantage of their own sense of surprise, and it ends up finding them a second kill. Looking for a third. They'll swing. FAMAS, not as good as it used to be, or arguably better, but just not in the hands of Colonel, unfortunately. Campbell, sorry.
Yeah, not ideal, but we're seeing these guys really able to balance themselves out. Now, looking at only 2 remaining. Nevermind put a lot of money into this, and the whiff op shot, unfortunately, is going to allow for only 1 player versus 3 and a road to an ace, but the ace is not on track here with Vortex finishing us off there, but a wonderful 4K, and unfortunate for how much damage has been dealt to these 2 teams. So it's a little rough around the edges.
Hey, it's still a second round for Nevermind earlier, but it's not as much of that advantage. This is similar situation to back on Ancient. Nevermind win pistol, they win conversion, and they just kind of exit into the bonus. They will reinvest here. The issue is buying that op has really come back to bite them, and it's given it over to Proxy, who will ironically enough find it all for that opening kill.
Oof. And there we go. We are seeing that they're looking to find some kind of finishing move for this. But I like the fact that we have the T's really splitting themselves up. And what is this fight going on in apps? That is huge. We do see Zaka grabbing 1, but unfortunately that is a M4 and an AK being able to walk out of here. So clean from them. They don't allow anybody else to really pick it up, but the money is still in Nevermind's hand, and the rounds are still in their hands as well. With 1 minute, 10 seconds on the clock, the T's are going to have to touch this point. They need to get on A ASAP.
Problem is they're planning open. They didn't clear A main. The fact that you don't split A leaves the main position open for the taking, and LDT re-swings from CT while the distraction's there. Finds a second kill for the team, wants a third. That head angle, ever so dangerous. He ends up dropping to 2 health, and will pick up the AWP off the back of it and retreat back in towards this CT position. He's still got help, but that's now exited stage left as Vortex goes for 2. And we're tied at 2 apiece.
Wow, great tie, great angles here. Honestly, the way that they were able to just duke it out, I do want to see that this op is still in play. It's still being held, this time picked up by the T's, and I think an op on Mirage on T side is so powerful. There's so many long angles. You got mid, you got Palace, you got apps. Any angle that they want to take, they will probably be putting a lot of pressure on right now. So I don't know. I'm really just concerned for the side of Nevermind because they have lost their lead and now they're on a full save, pistol only.
Aggression from Camel. USP into 2 players with guns. He sees them and will sprint for the hills, but he'll hop into the windowsill. This is an interesting position. I haven't seen this play in a while. Yeah, Ruru just saw him, didn't even react, and the nade will end up killing LDT in the process. This seems to be a done round. Knife, Valiant effort. We'll find their second, though, and that should just about it, yeah. 5v1, 5v2. Now 5v2. Okay. Okay, bro. I didn't
got JFK'd. That was a clean shot. I mean, beautiful job there for being able to turn him down. So I'm hoping that they're going to be able to continue that energy. But as I said, it was the CT map. I want these CTs, now that they have buys, to slow down the pushback from this side. They really locked everything down, pushed themselves forward, and might be able to keep that consistency cooking. So looking at this next point here, looking at hopefully a big push up from the T's, they want to take A, and they're doing it as a team.
Oh no, Camel just got legged crossing towards jungle. That one hurts. That's from A main, by the way, with the AWP. Similar situation to what we saw in game 1, though. It's pistol and conversion for Nevermind in the first half, Blame with 3 straight afterwards. This time just on Nevermind's CT side. And they weren't expecting all that much pushback, at least on their CT side. They've lost 3 of 4 rounds they picked up in the previous game already, and it's only been 5 rounds.
It's been a little rough here for him, but this might be even rougher. Unfortunately, the fire pushing him right up the ladder is going to grab a clean pick, and Pro-Off is continuing that. Grabs no love, and that is a player still managing to stay alive with 16 HP. ZZZ, with the rest of their team anchoring down in mid, has to try to go for a retake through connector, and wait a minute. Kamal manages to actually open it up right through the CT spawn, right through ticket. Nidhal grabbing another one. But wait, we have a delayed flank. We have one player that needs to wait for their entire team rotating, and the bomb is down and in a perfect position for CT to hold.
It is picked up, but this is the patient play. Nevermind are allowing that bomb to be retrieved and planted even. They're going to allow CT to be controlled, but is there going to be a rotation towards the B side? That's the real question. It seems like LDT is concerned about that, so they will rotate to B, and with that false sense of security, the A main rotate may very well end this game. But that A main rotate has rotated into the middle of the site. You can see there's just patiently waiting out the open. It's off angle. It works. That's the advantage. Turns out what is unexpected can only be expected to win. Nevermind will tie it up once more.
Great tie, great pushback here from these players, and now I'm expecting to see maybe just potentially a little bit of a comeback here for both sides, but we're seeing close games from them. And we kind of hit on this a little bit during our pre-podcast about how a lot of the Arena Esports matches have been very close in their standings and how teams like to duke it out without a lot of a real issue.
4 players just swung mid on the T side. Hot flash there for Camel, well set up, but the reswing from window just not successful. And it's full mid control for Blame if they want it. I don't know where they go from this. I don't think they have weaponry in this round. If I'm correct, it should be upgraded pistols and or SMGs, so nothing to write home about, but certainly viable for them to win the round. We've seen them do it before. My question is when they do it. They've taken 30 seconds to do nothing. It's an AK for Zaka. What's the rest of the team's buy looking like?
You know,
also, somebody just DC'd.
Optional to have a player. Sometimes we just, like to make it even, like to level the playing field for some of these guys. But honestly, I think we have some ops, we have some AKs, pretty much full buys. That's what I'm expecting them to be able to pull out from them, and makes sense. But what I really want to see from both of these teams is that. ZZZ does have an op, Nidhal does have the spray, and as slow and methodical as they took it, they weren't ready for the complete carnage that came out.
The fact LDT even finds that kill almost immediately is the most surprising part of that for me. Quick tech pause, as Blame will have to iron out their final player, and we have a small loading issue, so I suppose perfect time to have a pause. Nevermind, honestly, at this point, having some difficulties in a couple of these rounds, but they have started to iron some of those problems out, and more importantly, they've picked up a couple of these rounds back the other way, back in the lead.
It's nice to see that they have ironed things out, as you put it, but I think what we really need to be looking at is not how much iron they have in their bones, but how strong they can hold this down and hold their own. I think that what we really expected from both of these teams is consistency. At least I expect consistency for them, but we just haven't seen it yet. Now, with it being a real back and forth, with how dramatic each round has gotten, I still have no idea who's going to be taken, but Nevermind has been proving themselves to have the lead most of the time.
To the DC, as you can see. I was talking about the ping earlier. I want to bring that up again while we can see it. Hopefully we don't switch off the screen. About 70 ping for the entirety of Nevermind. Well, on Blame, you have 40, 50, sometimes up to 60 ping. This is a very concerning situation for a lot of these teams, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it because of how far spread the MENA region is from one another. It's kind of like playing from east to west servers if you're in North America, if you happen to know that same context. It's not easy. It used to be a little bit better on 64 or 128 tick, but on sub tick, sometimes that higher ping on both sides can really be like, wait, am I playing the same game?
Yeah, I feel you there. It's, no one likes to lag. It's just not a great feeling. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt. This team definitely is not competing in the same caliber that they have been before. But, at the end of the day, it's a little disappointing, but understandable for how we can see a little bit of pickup here. LTD, though, grabbing a double kill. Might be able to find another, but so far so good in the ways that we are seeing a major comeback, a real come up here from these guys being able to lock it down. Ooh.
1 for 1. Nice shot from the Tech 9, but it'll only pick up 1. And 1v4, speaking of. A 3K at the end of the day before falling. Really good showing, but having Pro left alone, not a whole lot you can do in that scenario. Especially with many, many people looking in your general direction, much less looking directly at you. 3 rounds in a row for Nevermind, matching that total of Blame, and now solidifying that 2-round lead once more.
And now with another 2-round lead, I can expect some great things for them to be able to back each other up in hopefully something that really shines here. And what I want is I want these rifles in hand, this op in Nidhell's hand. This has been the opera that has really shocked me in how they've adapted to this new version of Counter-Strike, and might be able to keep that energy moving. But so far so good. A little bit of a split up in Nidhall, smoked off, won't be able to do much with it, but we have a player in Underpass that might be able to make their way through here. And looks like the contact is going to be found, but we're not going to be able to see that angle.
No, honestly, with mid, there's not a whole lot going on. It's the walk into the window, that's about all. And ZZZ actually re-swinging was boosted up after the ladder drop and finds 3 separate kills. And blink and you miss it. Nevermind is in a 5v1 in 15-20 seconds. I gotta say, Blame having some difficulties getting in as soon as Nevermind started solidifying some of their advantages. Swing with the AK. Not surprised if ZZZ finds a different kill here. Will it be taken away? No, they will go for a 4K. And Nevermind, again, extend that lead.
Good stuff. I mean, you can't really stop them. You can't slow them down, and that's what they want. They want to be able to really lock things down here. So good gameplay from all of Nevermind so far. We're seeing 12 there, but you know, I can't talk about how good their gameplay is without talking about the fact that T's are still missing a player based off that scoreboard. Now, doesn't mean that we're going to not have them come back eventually, but it might lead to some real issues with the nade combo. Oh, almost hits it again for us.
Ooh, no love. There's one back, and this is the problem for Blame. Very one-dimensional attack after losing that one member towards the A side, and they have to walk through a smoke in through the connector. One picked up by Campbell. They'll end up being dropped by the Tech 9, but the refrag immediately there by Nidal. And that may very well be the round. A 4v2 already. Again, 20-25 seconds gone, and everyone's dead for Blame. What the heck's going on the T side? Did they just forget to show up for map 2?
I mean, I don't think they forgot to show up, except for the guy who's not currently playing the game because they disconnected. That person definitely did. But I think with the way that they're actually playing, they're just trying to make the best of a bad situation. But unfortunately, the harder they struggle, the deeper they get. This is the real quicksand trap that you experience when you're down a player.
It just happens more and more. Mid control becoming a problem for Blame. One thing I want to see about them is keeping that mid control, but trying to take it from underpass rather than the top of mid. Send one player top mid, just a bit of utility and make them look in that general direction. Don't play for it every round. The last couple rounds we've seen them send 3, 4, sometimes even 5 players there, and then they all die almost immediately, and for no particular reason. They're not even pushing a sight off the back of it. They haven't tried to split A in 6 rounds, and they've had issues over towards the B side. Split mid from a different direction, or just hold W into A maybe. I see 5 players all hesitating A with 1 in Palace, and they go 1 for 1 early. You've already lost that Palace presence.
Oh, big damage. Nice. Beautiful job from No Love. Vortex is going to be able to get the trade off there, but we do have a player on the flank, and the rest of their team is trying to inch their way into a better and better position to make it work. However, if I want to be candid, this flank might just be the nail in the coffin for Blame if they're not prepared for it.
Oh, when LDT catches Ruru, there's a gap on the bottom side of the smoke. Does ZZZ go for that shot? Yes, they do. Vortex is Neo, somehow avoids the first shot and ducks under it, but it'll only be 1 shot they avoid. The second one will hit their head, and it's an 8th round for Nevermind and a 6th in a row. Blame has not been here on the T side. Even there, it looked okay, and then it didn't, and now we're going to have a pause because there's only 4 members for them. And, unless there isn't. Is the scoreboard lying to me?
You know, I think sometimes
yes, it is.
It might be lying to you, and that's okay. You know, you don't need the full truth. It's doing it for your own benefit. That's what's happening.
About this is going to be an opening kill about 90% of the time, unless a flash is thrown early. Has to be. Question is, does it come through? Flash for mid there for ZZZ, trying to set up Camel for a second, but you already have the opening duel go in Nevermind's way. Wow. Can't say I'm surprised. And there's the op. Yep. Wow. A second!
Jeez.
What a re-engage. It's a 5v1. It's been 35 seconds. It's a 5v1. And Zako swung. Oh, he does survive the first kill. So it's not a flawless round, but it's damn near close to it.
Yeah, not great. Not ideal, as you would put it there. So, I mean, they have what it takes. We have one player left, and currently they're sitting in a very safe spot, but picking up that bomb is death. And that is the last round. Can't really save it there now, can you? 9-3 here, and we all know Valorant's 9-3 curse, but this time it's going to be a little bit rough around the edges for both of these teams here. But I gotta ask, what do you think we're going to be expecting from this?
I think this game's going to end quickly. I hate to be that guy, but I really do. And the only reason is because Nevermind has yet to lose a pistol round. If they were losing pistol rounds, this is a different conversation. But if you go up 10-3, maybe even 11-3, and you're then faced with your first real hurdle, this is a completely separate conversation. This pistol round may very well decide the game, and more decide whether it goes on or whether it ends, not whether Blame will win it or not.
Yeah, guess that makes sense. But right there, Nadehall starting us off and proving your point in a game ending soon, that is going to be pushing them even further into a decent position. Blame down 1, down 6 rounds, and I don't know if they actually got their 5th back. I don't think
they do.
No, they did. They did.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank God. But very unfortunate that we have a little bit of tech issues there. So time.
CS scoreboard diff.
Literal player count diff. Well, you can count a headshot there, count another one as well, and another one. Everyone's getting some head today, and that's going to be a little bit more damage here as they're dropping right on in, and another pick for No Love. And can No Love keep it going? This buffed Glock is ready to make it work, but the buffed Glock, you can talk the talk, but can it walk the walk? It is going to be looking for another player in CT, but wait, you have the bomb. Where are you going with that? Get on site.
They were trying to rotate through mid and get that off, but they wanted to make sure they avoided any possible mid pressure. And Bomb now out in the open, no help immediately, but No Love still in this fight in pro. A 1 versus 1. They end up killing No Love, a clothesline as they jump, but ZZZ now the 1v1 of their own. Glock out has the advantage close range, and it'll end up with yet another kill. A 2-piece for ZZZ, a 2-piece for No Love, and 4-0 on pistol rounds for Nevermind.
Wow. Not ideal. I mean, we're seeing double digits right off the bat of first round, second half. That is not ideal here, but we do have some lineups that the T's want to try to bring to the table here to really seal the deal. We even have full buys. The last time we watched this team really start to find their own, if you recall, they were going AK-47 and, you know, usually they're just MAC-10 SMG rushers. So I like the fact that they're putting a little bit more faith in their buys, but whole team here is very consistent into A. And talking about consistency, your brain's some soup right now if you can't get this pick. And yep, there it is.
One picked up, and here's the MAC-10 holding W. Somehow doesn't sight either player right in front of the connector. It may not matter. Nade in, there's a swing from the connector, and dispatch them. That may very well end up being the round. Deagle out, does find one. A second for Proxy, hold the phone. A knife kill for Camel, sorry, as they jump into the smoke. And 2 separate knife kills in a singular round. The Deagle's caught out while reloading, and the round quickly dispatched of. Nevermind, that's the game. I'm sorry, you're not coming back from 2 knife kills in a conversion round.
Yeah, or you might not be coming back at all, as we have to slowly wait to see what happens next. This time on Dragon Ball Z. But anyways, so looking at how this game went, was I expecting a 2-0? Yes. Was I expecting a 2-0 with no fight? Absolutely not. I did not expect these guys to be taken down so heavily. And honestly, it's, you know, bringing the steel chair from the top of the rope. They're dropping it on these guys. So I like what we're watching, but I think there was a lot for Team Blame to, you know, be able to talk about afterwards and maybe blame each other for. As we're seeing a lot more death and destruction, Proxy and Vortex will be able to get some trade-offs, and it's a 3v3.
Oh, Camel, though, clears get right already. The position, not the player. And it's that 3v2. The issue is, there's a flank going through A. The bomb is planted on this site, and Proxy has found that kill. But No Love is sitting in CT and doesn't have the immediate angle on the bomb. He's on an island, could be cleared here, but unfortunately that flank is not going to work immediately. That rotation has gone in towards vents and over towards the site itself while circumventing that CT position. Here's the stick on the bomb. The swing has to be there immediately, but it's a little too late. The swing, even with this kill, will not be in time. It is in vain. No love finds no round, and it's Nevermind finally losing that bonus.
Wow. They managed to take a round here. Impressive. Congratulations. You're on the board in this half, but can you keep it cooking? Right now, Nevermind is looking to maybe seal the deal here. These Ts are able to afford quite a bit. They got Galils, they got AKs. They, I believe, only have one MAC-10. And what we've seen the MAC-10 do is terrifying. It turns them into MAC-10 and Swiss cheese. They are rocking it here. So, hopefully, we can see what the CTs have as an option to bounce back. I like the positioning that they've done. They really are taking it slow, except for the A push. They want to be aggressive. They want to try to cut it down, especially with the limited range that the MP9 brings. Nevermind, go all the way to ticket with it.
Yeah, I mean, MP9 and MAC-10 are kind of gross from long range now in CS2. They used to be atrocious. Source, I played with them a lot. But they're a little bit more viable here, and if you play them properly, you can get a little bit more. Zaka already finding one opener, reswing is there, but ZZZ will allow it to go 2 for 2, and Camel kills their teammate while also killing an opponent. It could have been a 3v3, it could have been a much more reasonable round, but now you have one player on half HP, your AK stuck in Palace, and a 2v3.
Wow, it's pretty crazy. So I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling about this. I think what we need to see is some real damage from the side of the Ts. They have to win this round if they want to just guarantee that they finish this off. And they have what it takes. They have weapon advantage here. They have a decent angle if they can just buy time. And it looks like CTs are getting antsy. They're not playing together that much when it comes to holding A anymore. They've given up the A hold, and that just buying time. It's all up to the player in jungle.
Isolated. 2v1, even though it's a 2v3, and it's favoring Nevermind right now. If this swing goes their way and they allow that bomb to cross safely, it's a completely different conversation. There's a swing. I think they've seen the player in jungle. A flash ends up missing. That will not flash off the player in jungle, but it will over towards connector. That spray, however, misses. This bomb has to go down now, and it will. ZZZ for the cover, though. They'll get cleared. They'll get dusted. That's the MP9 from long range. That's the strength it brings. And the MAC-10, no, the M4A1S ends up closing. I thought it was the MAC-10. I thought I heard it. Anyway. It's another round for Blame, back-to-back now of their own. Still, they lost the pistol, they lost the conversion in both halves. That same 78% number, that's a concern.
Yeah, well, Blame has a lot to live for here. They know that if they manage to take this game back, then they have a shot at qualifying for Arena Esports. There's so much money on the line. This is rent, everybody. This is making sure that you can feed yourself for the next 2 weeks. No, you gotta win it. Now, Blame is looking like they want to take it back. They have a decent amount of gameplay skill to really set the stage here, but unfortunately, they are in a uphill battle and just do something to really pop off here. So what I'm expecting is CTs, they just want to get aggressive. They have not missed their deagle shots very often. And looks like we're actually seeing that one player Vortex getting caught out, but that nade's going to do a chunk of damage to one of these players, and that's opening it up. ZZZ's now down 26 HP left. You're down a proxy. And there's no love. Finally executing onto the A site. Needs to find another one to open it for their team, but there's a domed head twice for this player of Pro Off.
The fact that Pro plays that off angle sitting inside a jungle while still holding both connector and the far side of the cross, that's so important. The off angle has been that difference maker. But I'm going to say this. Back in the first half, first 2 rounds went Nevermind's way, Blame found the next 3, and then forgot how to play the rest of the half. If that happens again, this game's over quickly. Blame has picked up that 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. If history repeats itself back from the first half, this game will end in the next 6 minutes. If it doesn't, and we do see that saving grace of opening picks, maybe there's a change. Spray down, does it find a kill? We can't even see. He's staring at the sun. He does still find the kill.
Wow. And here we go, another pick. Zaka able to grab the headshot down, doing it again. But what a run and gun Galil. Zaka will be able to get traded, but ZZZ is there to finish it off. And talking about ZZZ finishing it off, can you finish off 3 more and keep your team alive, getting that MR? But ooh, I love it. I love the angle. Oh, I thought he was going to try to jump right into there, but making a bunch of noise. Definitely spotted out here by the one player in Cat. And wait. What?
Yeah.
Take it back, I guess. I mean, I appreciate the boldness.
I would have liked throw the Molotov jungle, jump up the stairs, get to default, plant and hide, and or play aggressive in the 1v3. You needed an opening kill. That was the main issue. I would have liked to see some level of aggression towards the B side and then passive play back towards A, but it didn't work. And a lot of things you can say in 1v3s, it could have gone better, but it did not. 11 still for Nevermind, but it has been for the last 4 rounds. Here's where the rubber meets the road for them, but we've been saying that for a couple rounds now. It's just Deagles here, as they've had some difficulties on a streak.
Yeah, they really have. And oh my god, an op shot right through the smoke takes out ZZZ. There's your carry now down, and looks like we are going to be seeing another player in heaven down. No, wait, you're still standing. 14 HP, LTD still alive, and Nidhall is grabbing the pick on a pro off. That off angle that you called out, unfortunately, has been read like a book, and a player is dead because of it. But that is pretty big.
It's only an off angle if you play it once or twice. If you start playing it more often, it becomes something they're commonly going to look for, and you've lost that same opportunity. A is now very much under siege, and Nevermind has all the opportunities to get in. Granted, they do still have the weapon disadvantage. I will bring that up once more, but Blame's player disadvantage basically negates that. Zaka's on low HP, so they're one shot to those Deagles. Ruru is not, but they have a flank coming through mid that is not being immediately held, and that break out of Palace, if it's timed now, it'll end up working. They time it perfectly. No one's looking this direction, and as soon as they do, there's a split out. Ruru looks the wrong way at the worst possible time, and the 1-for-1 trade both in window and the 1-for-0 in Palace ends up giving them a 3v1 and the bomb down to put it onto match and series point.
Wow, this is looking a little for wear, but
You gotta save.
you gotta, and that's going to be a round 12, a match point.
Yep.
Uh-oh. I mean, at least they save an op, and this op has been very vital in getting some early frags. I think the first blood has been coming out from op kills for the past few rounds here. And, you know, it makes sense that they're going to be able to save it. Is very expensive. Now, overall, how much money this team has, I am pretty clueless on. I would think that they still are able to fully buy. They haven't had too many issues. They haven't died that many times in the last rounds. They've always kept around 3 remaining, so their economy should be fine here. Unfortunately, Tease, though, they have a ton of cash to work with, and we are going to be seeing them even buying each other up here. Wow, buying 2 people. This guy's floating the money.
He is he who possesses the cash. The banker... Is this a Swiss tournament? Did I miss a memo? I mean, it's got to be. They're on like 70, 80 ping. Somebody's definitely playing from the Swiss Alps. No. Oh, never mind. This is the round that could end it. Op shot just narrowly misses. The smoke plumes the right time. The nades as well. Are they lethal? No, just narrowly not. And luckily, that op will escape intact, but just barely.
Now, if they are going to be finding that lethality early on, they needed to get that pick. I mean, that's the thing. You can't re-swing that angle without being dramatically punished. So now you're relying heavily on the player in Cat and setting up this temporary crossfire for them to push in. But T's know about that. They know all of the angles that you're going to be playing. It is going to be a full send A site, which A is tougher to take, in my opinion, than B. But they're managing to work it out with all of their use. All of the swings. ZZZ's grabbing some picks and even cleaning it up through the smoke as well. Everyone is doing their part, and that is why we're now in a 2v4 to finish this off here.
Yeah, bomb down, another Molotov towards jungle, no safe way out of that one. You can't even safely swing it, and the smoke towards connector doesn't give you any information. You have to unsafely swing this, and it may end up going against them. Camel doesn't have that angle, as Vortex will get out alive, but they may not know that ticket is currently occupied, and that may end up being their Achilles heel. Camel yet to be cleared, swing for 1, Nidhall finds the first, a 3v1, but already 2 picked up for Zaka. Not unreasonable to say the very least, as they swing and do damage, but they cannot find the final kill they're looking for. ZZZ puts them to sleep. And it's 2-0 to close for Team Nevermind.
Wow. Nevermind just being able to really bonk it down. That is now a player and a team together to qualify to the monthly finals here at Arena Esports. So great job. Just exactly what they needed to do. They managed to really lock it in. Obviously, they had a struggle there for a moment, but that's the way that Counter-Strike works. You get punished so hard if you miss up one, but that was great. I mean, I did not expect it to be such a massive comeback there for either side. At any moment, Blame could have taken that game back. They had what it took, and unfortunately, Nevermind just kept their head on straight and kept plowing through.
When there's a game where you find 3 rounds in a row and 4 rounds in a row at 2 separate junctures and you lose by 6 rounds, you know something was going amazingly well and terribly wrong all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because something just was not solved at the end of the day. Nevermind go 2-0 here. Ancient was chaotic as ever, but Mirage was about as stock standard as it can get at the end of the day. Some rounds a little crazy. I'll throw it back to the pistol round where you had Deagles that got knifed and a weird finish for Nevermind, but after that, Team Blame looked like they had a foothold, and then that foothold just completely fell off, as unfortunately did they in this series.
Yeah, and I will say I'm still proud of this team. They managed to do well, but Team Blame, if you're going to blame anything that isn't your team, it's the consistency across the board. If you want to be taking rounds, you can't be having a burst of energy. You need to have a slow burn throughout. You know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint when it comes to Counter-Strike esports. You're going to have to be in it for the long haul. But that was a interesting best of 3. We saw a lot of great angles. Honestly, the main reason that Counter-Strike 2 is different, we saw pop off there. The op nade smoke combo. I mean, it's so nice to see. The only thing that will define Counter-Strike 2 anymore is the boost plays that you can do with boost strats. And we haven't seen a lot of those yet, but these highlights, we got to just take a look at some of the great gameplay that look at this.
I am still a fan of that outplay. The fact that you buy a round 3 op and do that and still lose the round, that shows you how back and forth this game was at the end of the day. Proxy, with that op, by the way, ended up finding a nice couple shots towards the later stages. We saw a couple team kills that could have changed the tides of this game, albeit not all that much. Nevermind still had a fairly definitive way of closing it. But ZZZ, I'm waiting for the stats, because we can't see the kill totals at the end of every round, unless we bring up the scoreboard, which we didn't do every time. I want to see how many kills ZZZ had. My guess is somewhere in the neighborhood of 23, 24, if I had to make a presumption, but it may be more than that.
Yeah, I think if I were to assume how many kills, is ZZZ top frag. I already believe in that. I think Proxy definitely middle to high there, but that guy did a backflip. I didn't even notice that the first time. But honestly, it really comes down to a lot of the players on this side of Blame. There was a few players that needed to pick up the pace and just couldn't a lot of the time, didn't have their moment of glory, their 5 minutes of fame. No Love, even though they were very consistent, isn't at the top, in my opinion. I think that we saw ZZZ, Nidhall definitely up there from those op shots, being able to really rock everything together. So, I mean, if I were to put money on who is the top frag, ZZZ first, Nidhall second.
Okay, that's unreasonable. That's reasonable. I'd go No Love as second. I think they stepped up in a big way, especially pistol rounds on both sides. They were still a driving factor of those eco rounds and giving a very reasonable shot to Nevermind, even without as much weaponry. Albeit some of those frags may have been impactless frags, but we didn't count impactful kills. We counted kills total. So that's my guess. I think it's still up in the air. I think a very good round from Nevermind nonetheless, and they can move on to the monthly finals. Very happy with the result here.
Yeah, and once we get that scoreboard up, we can also talk about what is going to be happening next year at Arena Esports. If you guys aren't already sticking around, following all of the wonderful, wonderful gameplay that is here, we have a ton of different games. Dota 2 is for another place you can find me. You can find me also at Mobile Legends Bang Bang, but you can also find a scoreboard here with some stats to prove what is there. And Nidhall and ZZZ right at the top. So I was wrong on who was first and second, but I was right about who those two would be. But No Love coming in the middle. Now Camel as well did a great job at doing it, but I think overall good stuff. And you look over at Team Blame, and it kind of makes sense. Zaka, Vortex, and the rest of them all 12 and 11. No one really popping off besides Zaka.
Zaka really the standout player there, not by a whole lot. I think Blame were a little bit more consistent across the board compared to some of the individual players of Team Nevermind, but it's a completely different conversation. 24 kills for Nidal, 20 for ZZZ. 2 players dropping 20 bombs in a 20-round game. That KPR looking real good on the Nevermind side. And the bottom 3 players for their team were the same as the bottom 4 players for Blame. That's the standout performers making your way in. Yeah. And I gotta say, I I gotta say, this is a completely different conversation for Nevermind heading to the monthly finals.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, they live up to the claim and the statement. Your peak is my Smurf. I mean, the real damage dealt here. The bottom frags are still doing better than some of the middle frags here. Just insane from them being able to really pop off. But that, of course, is the scoreboard for us. And you know what? One statistic that you never get a shout out enough is how many assists some of these players are getting. The smokes, the utility usage, the flashbangs have been very clean. And, you know, 2 players, Nidhall and Camel, they were at 13 assists. So great job here for them. And beautiful, beautiful gameplay. Now that we are going to be moving into a future date for more of this. So if you are here for Counter-Strike, we can expect to see you hopefully next Friday. Next Friday, some Counter-Strike Global Offensive. If you guys are down to follow and see
this
that.
is Counter-Strike 2, Edu.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
they're technically the same game. They're technically... They are on Steam. All of my achievements from Counter-Strike Global Offensive were deleted, and now I just have one achievement in Counter-Strike 2, which is play the game. Thanks, Valve.
That's true. It is. It's called A New Beginning.
And
open the game.
Yeah, open the game. Also, for some reason, it kept all my hours in Counter-Strike Global Offensive and transferred them to CS2. I don't know why they did that. It's so weird. So weird.
Keep my numbers.
I don't want
numbers, by the way, as to when we are playing next, when we have our next streams. You are back on tomorrow, if I'm reading this correctly. You got Dota here, so you were talking about Dota. Keep an eye on that. After that, Sunday, we have Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Don't know who's on that one. Maybe you, if you happen to be back on MLBB.
I might be.
Post that. I think it is Counter-Strike the following week. No, we have PUBG Mobile next Tuesday with Seymour and myself, or maybe Llama and myself. And then finally, to close out next week, it is CS2's monthly qualifier. So we still got a lot of action before the holiday break. Here's your roadmap that we've currently landed at. We've already sent one team to the monthly qualifier. We will send, or monthly finals. We will send another team through the open qualifier, which is not streamed, and then our monthly finals in just a week and a half or so. We'll send that same team as the third to our playoffs.
That is just awesome to see, awesome to hear it. And also shout out to our awesome sponsors. We are powered by Etisalat, by Ian, and of course broadcast partner Playtonia, strategic partner AD Gaming. We cannot be here without these wonderful players in the scene, so shout out to them. Thank you again to everyone who watched today. Also shout out to our production team, shout out to Darkter for doing all of everything else. But that's all we got for us today. So I believe it's time for us to say goodnight.
It is indeed. Remember, Dota 2 tomorrow. Come back, see that very handsome man, and see more Dota action that I have no idea what's going on. Hopefully you very much do. More monthly qualifiers, more invitational qualifiers on the horizon. We hope to see you then.
Let's do this, Abu Dhabi!
Catch a style now. Clocks on the teeth side. Bad bitch on each side. Big splits chillin' on the beat side. Run things where you feel like. Cake big, have a carve out a piece like. Freestyle now, millions for each line. Too cool, when I need ice in my beverage. Test this bigger, please find the exit. Right now, man, active. Gone with the game like a bandit. We bring the flame like a mattress. Let's me know. So don't just like this active. Stand up and tell us I'm out there. Active. One live like massive. Talking with an every brandish. Come through and hold the world hostage. Wanna start the bumper clad mash pit. When we step on those things, get active. Active.
just a jump, just a jump. Shivers my spine so well. Swimming in the river takes too much. I'm trying to let go of us, but the truth is what's real and no one else. My darling, in fire. My darling, rose in fire. You're a liar. You say, my darling, rose in fire. In fire. You say, my darling, rose in fire. You're a liar. Shivers my spine so cold, so swimming in the rivers, swimming in the rivers. I'm trying to let go of us, but you know that you ain't the one
Hello, it's been a long, long time. Can't get you off my tired mind. Shadow, let the tape rewind and finally ease my anxious eyes. Oh no, I feel you creeping in, my body bleeding sin. I'm drowning. Heaven, could you save me now from these thoughts inside my head? God, you are the devil running through my mind. I can't get on your level. I swear to God I tried. I am not under your spell. Turn around and turn ahead. You can't help me anymore. Oh my God, you are the devil.